Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the talk. For the next few minutes, I will be discussing ML-enabled optimizations in LLVM. So this is something that has gotten a lot of traction recently. Many people have tried to use ML-guided heuristics to get LLVM passes to perform well. And there has been a bunch of success there. So one example is MLGo, where they have used this pipeline to get better numbers out of function inlining and say eviction decisions in register allocation. And it's a pretty general consensus that this pipeline is there to stay. It's going to be mainstream, and this is usually how LLVM passes and heuristics therein will be made better. So I want to go into a bit more detail as to how this pipeline works. So you have your code, you put that as an input to an ML model, which then drives your decisions. Putting this code as an input to an ML model involves converting this code, getting vectors out of this code, which can then be sent as input to ML models. This can be done in two ways. One is that you decide on some parameters and then you score your code on that. These can be any metrics, any other things, opcodes, entities, etc. You score your code base and then you get a vector out of that, and that can be given as an input to the ML model. The other way is to feed your code into a separate ML model, which can then give you embedding vectors for it. These embeddings are not going to be based on any specific features, and all the knowledge taken from that code will be spread across the vector. The consensus here is that yes, these are more usable, more general, because with vectors, with feature vectors, it can change depending on what task you are planning for. Something worthy to note is that even MLGo until recently used to work with feature vectors, but recently they also have added support and worked with learned embeddings. It is with this context that I want to introduce or bring up IR2Vec. So IR2Vec is an embedding generation tool which takes in LLVM IR and gives you embeddings for your code. How does it do that? It builds on top of a learned seed vocabulary. This seed vocabulary will have baseline vectors for all the LLVM IR entities. So say opcode, type keywords, all of that. This is supplemented with flow information from the code itself, and this is how the final embeddings are formed. This has performed well in recent experiments where, with MLGo, it has given up to 5% more code size reduction than the normal OS pass pipeline. And even outside this ecosystem, it has been used across various publications, and it has shown itself to be a strong, stable, and rich embedding. So, coming to the current topic of the talk, what is the current ecosystem to use IR2Vec within LLVM? So IR2Vec as of May last year, 25, was put up upstream as an analysis pass, and a sibling embedding of sorts called MIR2Vec, which works with machine IR instead of the LLVM IR, is also available upstream as a code gen pass. And for downstream devs, say for any Python codes, for any other applications, there is also the option to use the LLVM IR2Vec standalone tool, which can be invoked as a bash process. So how does the pipeline usually work? Let's say I want to use IR2Vec to get embeddings. I can run the pass itself, or I can invoke this tool. This can have a few pain points. One is that yes, I'll need to have the entire LLVM code base. I'll have to build everything. The second is that invoking bash processes will have its overhead. It will take time. Secondly, these outputs stream into your files or your std out, and you'll have to parse them. Third, there is no inbuilt support for error handling. So if something goes wrong, we are on our own. So these pain points have been received as feedback, and through this talk, I want to introduce the IR2Vec Python package. This is built with the NanoBind library. It is now available upstream, and to enable immediate use for feedback and testing purposes, I have deployed a beta version on TestPyPI under the name LLVM IR2Vec. So a basic question, how do I use this? So immediately is you install it, you import IR2Vec, and you are good to go. So you don't need to have any LLVM based dependencies on your system. You can just spin up a collab notebook and you are good to go. Another thing that we have added here is this vocab object. So one feedback has been for the CLI that the seed embedding vocabulary, how do you get that? Usually what we have to do is we have to go into the code base, we have to go to the testing directories and use one of the sample vocabulary files present there. So to address that pain point as well, we have packaged pre-trained seed vocabulary files for 3 dimensions, so 75 size vector, 100 vector, and a 300 vector. These will be shipped with the binary, with the wheel file itself, and can be used immediately. So once you have the embedding object ready, depending on the use case, you can get embeddings at the function level, at the basic block level, or the instruction level, whichever way you want. So how was this implemented? As we have seen before, there is the LLVM IR2Vec CLI tool, which is available upstream. The architecture here is that the LLVM IR2Vec tool has the classes, the tooling, the code, which interfaces with the IR2Vec pass and its modules and the MIR2Vec pass modules. So step 1 here was to break this up into a CLI wrapper and then the actual running code which deals with the pass modules both ways. The benefits here are that the Python bindings can then also work with the same interface. This ensures some consistency with the CLI as well, so people using CLI already will not have to immediately break form. Also, this enables us to have this option in future if we want to expand the bindings to MIR2Vec as well. So this is something that we've had now, and the next step is to check, hey, performance. Because one issue is, okay, we have the usability issue that, okay, we want to run bash commands, we parse everything, but somebody could come and have a genius script and that could do it, but performance. So to test that, on one side we run the actual subprocess, which is how things run right now, and on the other side we use the IR2Vec pass. We use the IR2Vec Python bindings. And as expected, we see a pretty decent performance improvement where for our datasets, we have used codes scraped from these competitive programming platforms, and these are all single module IR files. And what would have taken 1.5 hours otherwise can be done in 20 minutes now. So through this project, the pain points that we have addressed are that we don't call subprocess anymore, so we save time overhead out of that. We don't have to parse outputs anymore, so there is more comfort there. We can get our NumPy array straight away out of Python. There is an ease of error handling. We don't have to go search around in the logs. And of course, as we just saw, we have a speed enhancement as well. Now, what are the next steps? We have the module, it's there on TestPyPI. What do we do next? Well, we distribute. So the next target for us is to take this to PyPI and take this to PyPI through the LLVM pipeline. So this is something that is going to be an open question for the community as well, because at the moment, LLVM publishes the LIT wheels out of its own mainline, but no other bindings actually get published out of LLVM. So that is something we are trying to figure out and see if we can create the ecosystem and the tooling around that. And of course, we can see how the benefits will be, because let's say you have the tool upstream and somebody changes the API, then the bindings downstream have to catch up, all that release drift happens. So that is something we want to explore and see how we can fix that, and that will be the next step and the next discussions in the coming weeks. In the meantime, the slides will be available offline eventually, so I have added a technical report which explains the API in detail, the implementation, the nanobind usage in detail, and if anybody wants, they can look it up, and we can have a discussion offline as well. And if you want to play around with the API, see what it's about, how it's doing, there's a collab demo that's going to be available as well. And so I will wrap up my presentation. I want to acknowledge, first of all, my mentor, Venkatakirthi. He was the one who gave the previous version of this talk at last year's developers conference. And I also want to acknowledge my professor, Professor Ramakrishna Upadrastha, who's been my guide through all of this. And thank you to all of you as well for coming here and supporting us.
Any questions?
Hi, thanks very much for the talk. I'm a little confused. Is this only applicable to Python code?
Yes.
So, what size of code base have you tested this on?
So the data set that we tested this on had from 40,000 files to about 250,000 files. So that way the stress test has been done and the speedups have been quite substantial. But yeah, to answer your first question, the bindings right now only work with Python.
Okay, great, thanks.
Any more questions? Great. Then now thanks Nishant again.
Thank you.